there guys, gals, and non-binary pals, GM Potter here. Welcome to my channel where I talk about books and bookish things. I upload on Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon Central Time. I am an independent author, an avid reader, and a cat mom of 4. And today we are reviewing the second book in the Seasons of Carnage trilogy, and that is Harvest Season by Brynne Weaver. So let's get into it. So like I said, this is the middle book in a trilogy. It very much does suffer from middle book syndrome in that it starts minutes after the first book and ends on a major cliffhanger. Some people on Threads were not happy about that because they didn't realize this was part of a trilogy, even though it says trilogy right on the cover. That being said, some books say they're a trilogy and then it's more books. That being said, as this is the middle book in a trilogy, some spoilers, just for the nature of things, so you have been warned. Coming in hot with the book blurb, we have, from the #1 New York Times bestselling author Brynne Weaver comes the second book in the devilishly steamy Seasons of Carnage trilogy, where dark romantic comedy meets thrilling suspense, and where love is ripe for ruin. It's time to reap what you sow. Cape Carnage is blooming with secrets, and they're ready to harvest. But every time Nolan Rhodes digs up one, another grows in its place. Harper, who isn't who he thought she was. Arthur might be more sinister than he first thought. And Sheriff Yates? The man is everywhere he turns. When true crime fanatics descend on the town looking for answers about the death of their leader, Nolan finds himself at the center of a search and rescue operation with missing people he knows are already dead. Cape Carnage teeters on the brink of chaos, and the harder Nolan tries to keep it together, the harder Harper comes to unraveling. Harper Starling has risked everything to bury her trauma in Cape Carnage, but now that Nolan has unearthed her past, her whole life seems ready to break apart. And who can she trust? The enigmatic man she's fallen in love with? He came to kill her. The serial killer mentor she's vowed to protect? He's become an unpredictable menace. The woman in the mirror? She might be the most dangerous of all. Loyalties are tested, bonds are bent to a breaking point, and love? That might be the deadliest trap of all. Harvest Season is a dark romance with mature themes. Please check content warnings at the beginning of the book. Tropes include small-town romance, fish out of water, grumpy, forced proximity, he falls first, touch her or him, and die, villain ex-villain, and brat tape. Content and trigger warnings. As much as Harvest Season is a dark romantic comedy and will hopefully make you laugh through the madness, it's still dark. Please read responsibly. Wood chippers, a Cookie Monster is back, baby. A raven who still very much enjoys human meat snacks. Dismembered bones. Stuff. Why are you surprised? Murdery gardening. Breaking and entering, including theft. Dismembered bodies. Toes. Yep, toes. Chili peppers? I don't know. You be the judge. References to physical and psychological torture. Poison and its unpleasant effects. Stalking, or according to Nolan, hunting. Drowning. Forced captivity, alcohol and sometimes weird things in alcohol, detailed search and rescue recovery activities including depictions of loved ones experiencing the stress and grief of a missing family member, details of a hit-and-run vehicular accident and drunk driving, a plethora of weapons including axes, knives, guns, garrots, and 3-hole punches, explicit language and blasphemy, explicit sexual content including brat tamer kink, impact play, adult toys, anal sex, oral sex, and pain play. Suicide, though please know this is not due to complicating factors of mental health issues. In this circumstance, it is defined as self-inflicted, injurious behavior with the intent to die. The story of 2 serial killers falling in love, so expect general murder and mayhem. As with Tourist Season, the preceding book in this series, I want to express this one in greater detail. Elderly loved one with mild cognitive impairment, MCI, and early Alzheimer's disease, AD. Caregiving responsibilities and challenges are also depicted. Please note that some readers might find exploration of memory loss triggering. More detailed information for what you might find helpful. Mild cognitive impairment Subtle changes in memory and thinking that may indicate transition to other dementia conditions, such as Alzheimer's. This term may be used interchangeably with early Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease, a progressive degenerative neurological disease with symptoms such as memory loss, difficulty thinking, mood and behavioral changes, psychological challenges, paranoia, depression, hallucination, restlessness, and many others that are not listed here. It is divided into 3 primary phases: mild, moderate, and severe, though not explicitly stated in the story and complicated by other medical conditions. The character in this book who has this exhibits symptoms of mild to moderate AD, dementia, an umbrella medical term for the number of distinct neurological conditions that represent the impact of at least 2 brain functions. MCI and AD are classified as dementia conditions. A portion of the royalties from the sale of this series will be donated to the Alzheimer's Association in the U.S. and the Alzheimer's Society of Canada. That being said, let's get into the book. So this book came out earlier this year. It's 368 pages in the paperback, and for me, this one is 5 of 5 stars, and I would say it's 4 of 5 chili peppers. The depictions of sexual acts, though graphic, there is a lot of plot in this book. Like, there is a fair amount of sex scenes and spice, but there's a lot more plot going on, and for that I had to bump it down from 5 to 4. This one we have different points of view. We have Harper and Nolan, and then LePlume, whose identity was revealed at the end of the first book. First spoiler, it's Sheriff Yates. We have trusting people with or without with our whole selves as a major theme of this book. To be known is to be vulnerable is a major theme of this book. Second spoiler, at the end of the first book, Nolan realized that Harper is not actually Harper, he is Autumn. Harper is the name of the person who killed his brother in a hit-and-run accident, and he's been chasing down. That's why he came to Cape Carnage with the intention of killing her. So there's that. And over the course of the book, he fell for her anyway, and then at the very end of the book, he realized that she wasn't even Harper, that it's okay that he's been in love with her this whole time, because she's not the one responsible for his brother's death. She is actually another victim of the same person. She just took her identity. And all the evidence that she's not actually Harper is in danger of coming to light in this book. So that's fun. Like I said, this is very much a middle book. It picks up minutes after Nolan realized that Harper isn't Harper. In fact, it starts off with him going to confront her over this, and they actually say, "I love you" to each other. The close of the last book, like I think it's the epilogue, reveals that LePlume, the notorious serial killer, who we've been led to believe, although it's never explicitly stated, and most of the characters say, no, he's not, we are led to believe is our Alzheimer's patient, who is Harper's mentor in serial killing. He himself is a serial killer, but he is not LePlume. Everybody thinks he's LePlume, and, not various degrees of sincerity think he's LePlume, but everyone's of the opinion that if he is LePlume, there's no proof for it. And Sheriff Yates implies heavily that he might be LePlume. The actual LePlume, Sheriff Yates, murdered his daughter before book 1 takes place. And there are a couple heartbreaking scenes where he talks to not Harper and calls her by his dead daughter's name. She's living in his dead daughter's house, because she's his caregiver and his gardener. And there are just a lot of heartbreaking scenes with the Alzheimer's. It does figure heavily into this book. If that is not something you can handle, please do not read this book. You will not have a good time. This book was hard to read in places because of that. There are a couple character deaths that hit me really hard, and Sheriff Yates is planning something. I won't get into that because this book is reviewing the second book, so spoilers for the first book, but not spoilers for this book. Sheriff Yates as LePlume is planning horrible, horrible things. Horrible things. And we get to see them, and we get to see his, there's time jumps. Harper and Nolan's chapters take place one right after another. Sometimes they overlap a little bit. Sheriff Yates' chapters take place in a not too distant future, until the end of the book, where we catch up with where Sheriff Yates LePlume is. And it is awful. because it's a little bit Silence of the Lambsy, like between Hannibal and the killer in Silence of the Lambs. I don't remember his name right off the top of my head. It's Captain Stottlemyre from Monk, is the actor, but like talking about shedding this chrysalis and turning into your most evolved self. LaPlume is planning things like that with one of the characters, foisting them off on the other character to try and do things. Sheriff Yates plays stupid. Like, he plays stupid on a spectacular next level. And he knows everything that's going on in his town. What he chooses not to investigate, he has his reasons for. What he chooses to investigate, he has his reasons for. There's a little bit of hidden identity going on with his character. It's very, very well written. This is the same author who wrote Butcher and Blackbird, which I have the first book on my TBR behind me. I don't know if that's going to fit into Herkiad 3 or if I'm going to read it just because I'm already going through Brynne Weaver withdrawals. Like, this is her second book series, I think. I read the first one in like a day and a half. It's roughly the same length. This one I read, I think in a day. I read it while I was dog sitting, and like I only stopped to like do the tasks to take care of the dog. Other than that, I was engrossed in this book and just reading it like this. Very good writer. Be prepared if you choose to read this one for a book hangover. Like, I cannot get certain scenes from this book out of my head. Like, and it's been a while since I read it. I think I read it back in June. Like, when I was dog sitting in June. It is, as I'm filming this, it is July 8th. So do with that what you will. This book will stick around in your head. Take those trigger warnings very, very seriously. She means them. She is looking out for you. If this isn't the book for you, this is not the book for you, and that's okay. Not every book is for every reader. Any book with trigger warnings, please take them seriously. They're there for a reason. Authors, if you're writing sensitive material that could be triggering, how do I explain this without sounding like a psycho? Most of the murders didn't get to me in the same way that the Alzheimer's symptoms did. Like, those symptoms kind of broke me a little bit as I was reading this. Like, broke open my heart, and like part of me poured out. I cried. That is more serious than the rest of it. Like, yes, there is an ick factor because we're dealing with serial killers and killing and excavations of bodies and moving dead bodies and handling dead bodies and all the rest of this, and like one of them has a scrapbook of people pieces. That didn't get my ick factor going almost at all, because it's the world building, and it, in the moment, for me, it made sense within the context of the story. I'm also a person who really enjoys horror novels, so that sort of graphic detail doesn't bother me as much, but the Alzheimer's stuff really got to me, and it is very heavy in this book, because the first book, it's much more mild symptoms. I think in the first book, the trigger warning, she says it's mild to moderate. In this one, it's fully into moderate as the story progresses. Like, it is heartbreaking. So read this with an open mind, knowing your limits. That being said, like I said, this book is 5 of 5 stars, which is hard to do for a middle book, because most middle books you're like, there wasn't enough, there wasn't this, there blah, blah, blah. This one has everything. The only thing I'm frustrated with this book is that it ends on a cliffhanger, but the second book has to. Like, the first book hooks you. The second book sells you on the third book, and then the third book should be your satisfaction. And I'm really hoping she doesn't drop the ball on this one. Like I said, these are the only 2 books of hers that I've read, but I have a feeling she's not going to drop the ball just based on the popularity and all of the good feedback I've heard about the Butcher and Blackbird series, so we'll see how that goes. Have you read Seasons of Carnage? Have you read Tourist Season, which is the first book, or Harvest Season, which is the most recent book? I'd love to hear your thoughts on those down in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.